Welcome to the Woman to Woman show where we believe that truth plus transparency equals healing. I am your co-host Trey Kearney, accompanied by Theodora Carter, Regina Howard Norman, and Sheila Isom. Good evening, ladies. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good
Hello.
evening.
So before we even get into our topic tonight, let's just, kind of sort of level set. Let's just share a moment of gratitude, something that you're just thankful for today. So anybody could jump in, just something you're just thankful, grateful, and blessed with today.
Oh man, there's
Right.
so much, right? Just to be able to breathe the air that to wake up today, for roof over my head, for employment, for friends and family, and because God has just given me another day with new opportunities and new possibilities.
Amen. I know that's right.
Amen.
Come on, ladies, jump on in. What are you thankful for?
I
Well,
okay. I'll go
no, go
ahead.
ahead, Sheila.
I am thankful for just being present, being alive, being able to enjoy just the basics of life. I'm just thankful. It's
Mm,
just it's can't get any plainer than that.
yes.
I am grateful for having platforms where we can share our truths, but do it with integrity to what we share, and always consider that there are at times people that are attached to what we share. So to do things in decency and in order when we have a platform.
Thank you, Gina. Yes. I am thankful for you ladies, one, for just saying yes to the assignment because we've been so transparent. I'm thankful too that I am well. I woke up this morning. I mean, we are dealing with a lot of loss. Betty White, we're dealing with, what is the guy's name from Full House? Bob Seger. Uh, that
M2A.
Mtume,
And
yes.
Teme, oh man.
Mtume has passed away. Sidney Poitier. So I'm
Mm.
just thankful for the breath in my body, lady. So I just wanted to have that thankful moment. I'm just so happy that we're here tonight to discuss overcoming obstacles. Oh my goodness. So a lot of people right now are dealing with grief. And I just wanted to just talk with you ladies and just maybe go over let's just
Yeah.
talk about some things that came that we thought, some things that we thought would take us out, but we sitting here. So Thea, I'll start with you.
So the first thing I thought that would take me out is finding my dad in his apartment, um, on the floor, and no longer here. So that was the first thing. But I did what I had to do, and I got through it. And then the next thing was losing my god brother to cancer, and my uncle and my aunt. And so it for me, it was back to back from 2016 to 2018, just like either people who I lost because of death, or the death of a relationship that truly, although now hindsight 2020, there were some red flags that I should have paid attention to. But at the time, just the unexpectancy of how it went down and everything surrounding it, it was something for me that I would have never expected would have took me to where it took me, because it took me into kind of a state of depression. And I don't know if it was because it was a lot of back to back stuff, or if that was just like the last straw. But so I would just say it was just a lot of back to back for me from like 2016 to 2018, just loss.
Hmm. Wow. That's I mean, and I've been on this journey with you, Theo, and I've watched you grow and I've watched you get through it. I've watched you, struggle through it. And
Mhm.
I'm just glad that you're here sharing. Sheila?
I would have to say it seems like everything just kind of happened within a short time span, but it started with going back to 1999 with me losing my job, and then my son being born prematurely.
Wow.
12 weeks prematurely,
Wow.
not knowing whether or not he was going to make it. And that was the first child that I had birthed. And at the age of 34, and then 8 months later, my marriage fell apart. And then 2 years after that, my mother passed away. So it was just a series of things that happened one right after the other, that really broke me down at times, more often than I probably would like to admit. But, um, it taught me a lot about myself for sure.
Wow. Gina?
Hmm. I think I've had different obstacles to overcome, but sometimes when you just in motion, you don't realize you're really fighting back or you're covering up some of the things you're dealing with. But the most recent obstacles I overcame was transitioning um, uh, in age. Going from premenopause to menopause, like that's real, and what that does to your emotional, mental, and your physical. Um, Having challenges in with my career, being at a crossroads, and then having challenges in growing. I'll say growing pains in my marriage, and all of those things happened at the same time. Uh, and I think that what helped me, if I didn't have faith, if I didn't believe in God, you would not be. I would not be in this platform right now.
Wow.
That I know.
Wow. There were a few things that I thought would take me out, and one is getting the diagnosis that Jermaine had autism. He's 12 now. He's nonverbal, but he is thriving. But when they tell you something like that, so to the autism moms and dads who are listening right now, that is trauma to your system. Like that is traumatic to hear somebody say, your child has autism. They probably won't do X, Y, Z because they give you the worst case scenario. And then the other thing that I thought would really take me out of here was watching my mom die. Like the process of death was really heavy on me. Like I literally watched my mom go from the diagnosis of her calling me, and our topic is what do you do when you get that call from her calling me and saying, hey, I got breast cancer and it's not good, and they want to remove my breast. And again, we discussed that my mom had alcohol and drug problems, and sometimes when my mom was drinking, she would say things, and then the next day she wouldn't mention, like, I didn't tell you that, but this was real. And it took me a long time to realize it was real. So I had some guilt behind that. And then the third thing was the loss of my marriage due to adultery by me and the devastation that it caused to so many families. And then again, losing my brother tragically last year on a motorcycle accident, and just having to process the fact that he was 51 years old, and to get that call in the early morning, the wee hours of the morning, that his wife called me and said that your brother is gone, like he's gone. I'm like, who's gone? You know what I'm saying? I knew it wasn't a good call because she doesn't call like that, but I thought it was just something like somebody was in the hospital. But it was traumatic, and sometimes I'm still shocked. So those are the things that I thought would take me out. So now let's just talk about how we pulled through that. Like, what are some of the things that you did? And we'll go with you, Sheila. What were some of the things that you did? And let's talk from the children's standpoint of getting, your child is premature or your child has autism, because I know there are many moms who are listening who are going through these challenges right now. Their baby is in, what is the NICU? Is that where they put the premature babies?
Hmm.
That process like for you, and what got you through it?
Well, it started out, again, this was my first pregnancy. And I'd lost my job right before that, so it was okay. And then it started with having that ultrasound, and then getting the call from the doctor, first questioning whether or not we've got the gestational age correct, because um, the size of the baby was a lot smaller than it should have been during that time. and then it's like, okay, well, we'll follow up with you on a frequent basis. And that turned into, well, you got a high risk pregnancy now because the baby's not growing, so we have to have you watched by a specialist. And going from the specialist saying, okay, we'll try to get you to 32 weeks, you just come here weekly, and then going for that weekly visit to find out that I wasn't going home again. You have to go into the hospital right now. And of course I'm thinking, well, what did I do? What did I do wrong to my baby? Did
Mm.
I play some kind of a role in this whatsoever? Was it that one time when I fell? Was it that sip of coffee that I had? What did I do something to contribute to it? And then being told, okay, well, you're going to have to be on complete bed rest. And then being in the hospital and being in a room where they're wheeling pregnant women in and out because they had either premature or forced labor. So it was as if I was not going to be a mother.
Ah,
And you know, one of the things that I learned, in life was that motherhood is not easy. Carrying a child is not easy. Um, Having a child live Charles door is not easy either. So, though it was those kind of things that made you realize that, wow, I am now, right about now, in a situation where I'll have no memory other people are none whatsoever accustomed to. And I just had to sit back and take a breath and actually put it into God's hands, because I was fortunate enough that my child, while he was a 1 pounder born 12 weeks early, he came out perfectly healthy.
wow.
you know and going from watching women coming in and out crying because they're going to have nearly full-term babies, and I don't know if mine is going to survive, to a child that came out healthy, because at the last minute they said, we can't wait any longer, we can't get you to 32 weeks, you got to go now because your fluids are dropping and we've got to take the baby. And then to have a baby come out perfectly healthy, I was like, that's nothing but God.
Wow. Wow. What advice would you give to a mother who's listening right now whose baby is actually in the NICU unit right now?
In addition to giving it to God, trust the professionals.
Mm.
It was to have conversations with the professionals. And Trey, you had mentioned that you were given the worst case scenario with your son. The same thing happened with us. They told us what the worst case scenario was, so at least we were able to prepare and we were able to ask questions. And we were fortunate enough that we didn't have to experience that. But then there were other parents with their children in the NICU who were experiencing those things. So it also let you know that at any moment, the diagnosis or the prognosis could change. So just holding on to that faith and listening to the professionals when they were telling you, stimulate the baby, talk to the baby. Don't let the size intimidate you.
Mm. Mm. I can't imagine a 1 pound baby. I can't, because a 6 pound baby is kind of small, because I had 8 pound, 8 and 7 pounders. So when I see a 6 pound baby, I'm like, that baby is tiny, girl. Like, so I applaud you for your strength. And I'm gonna go to Theo next. And I hope, I know this is Theo because I know you found your dad.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that moment, it really for me was the first, I called DC Marshall.
Yes.
Right.
Amen.
Right. And then, I, actually went into the mode that I go into of handling stuff, right? So, talking to the police officers, talking to the people that were showing up, figuring out what needed to be done. Next day, got up, making the plans. And so I think for the most part, I was taking care of all of his paperwork that I probably really didn't want and deal with it probably for a good 6 months to maybe a year later, right? Where I probably sat down one day and just cried my eyes out, right? And then, eventually, after losing my aunt, who was like a second mother, my uncle, who was like a second father to me, and then the loss of a relationship, I went to therapy. I went to therapy. I journaled. I did coaching. I became an author. And then I really just made the decision to heal, and which birthed my, the T-shirt that I sell, which is healing is a choice, right? And I know it's easier said than done, but I really had to make the decision to do some things that would help me to heal, because as you know, my faith in God is, anyone that knows me know I love God, but I had a little breakup with him for a minute. Like, he didn't break up with me, but I was like, for a minute, like, I don't really know what to say to you. Like, I literally got up one morning and text my girlfriends, my god sisters, a group text to say, I am devastated. Like, I really at this point don't even know what to say to God, and I just need you guys to pray for me.
Mm.
Right. And they showed up and they rallied and they prayed, and they, my niece, who struggles with depression, literally would call me probably practically every night or text me just to talk to me, right? Because she knew what I was experiencing. So I would say, one, the journey for me was a journey of being transparent, because I am a person that holds a lot of stuff close to me. And I'm the person that takes care of everything myself. And when people say, "How are you?" I'm like, "Everything is good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good."
Mm.
And I eventually just said, "I'm not good.
Mm.
I'm not good. I'm struggling. I'm not good." And like, it was a moment of just being real transparent, and just recognizing that, you know what, everything doesn't always have to be okay. Everybody doesn't need to think that you're always okay. You don't always have to be the person that everybody's leaning on. People need to know that you need help too. And so I just asked for help.
Wow. Wow. I'm not okay. Ladies, if you're listening right now, and men, this is we we are going through some trying times right now. When I say trying, and it's
Yeah.
okay not to be okay. And as Theo said, sometimes you just got to be like, I'm not okay. And again, Theo, I respect you so much for saying, God, I don't even know what to say to you, because this is just this ain't right, and I love you and I've been loving you, but no, I just, somebody else got to pray for me. Sometimes you got to lean on your intercessors. Sometimes you got to lean on your circle, your corner, your core, the people who you know that you can actually go to. If it's that one person, like, to find your father, and I know you're a daddy's girl, because I know you, and but to be the, I just, like, I can't imagine that. The phone call is enough for somebody to call you and say your loved one is gone. But to walk in on that and say the thoughts of, what if I would have got here 5 minutes sooner? What happened? Like, this can't be real. Like, the shock had to be beyond anything we could imagine. So Gina, I want you to come in and share about your loss and how you overcome.
Uh, I was just looking at Oprah on OWN with Cicely Tyson, and she said that everything that she went through um, wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it helped her to see how strong she was. And um, I never saw it from that perspective until I had actually experienced what I went through. I think part of my challenge was I felt that my career was colliding with my age, not the age so much, but the experience of going through menopause, premenopause, and then menopause at this, while career was going crazy, and then my marriage was going through its changes,
Mm,
and all of that was happening literally at the same time. And it's enough to deal with one thing that you really care about, or add value to it, or it has a meaning for you. But for all of those things to be happening simultaneously, it was like juggling three uncomfortable objects,
Mm,
trying to keep things up in the air at the same time, knowing that if any one of those things dropped, y- you'd be floored. So for me, it was, where do I find peace?
mm.
Because at least in my career, I knew I was providing a service. I was uplifting and encouraging people. I was, in charge of doing good works, right? I was in charge of a team that was responsible for encouraging women, empowering folks, and making a difference in their families. So even if things at home weren't exactly going right, at least I had the career, right? And then you take for granted, you're aging. Oh, menopause. What? I heard stories about menopause and stuff like that. I used to laugh at it. The laugh was on me when everything was happening. I was like, "Wait, what the fudge pickles? Like, who told my body that I don't need sleep at night and I still got to get up in the morning? Who said that it was okay to sweat like this in the middle of the winter time? And like, what's going on right now? Like, why is this weight still hanging in the place I said it needed to go? Because I could do that 2 or 3 years prior, right? So, and then with my marriage, I was like, yeah, now the children are getting older. My our youngest one at the time, she was just, I think, maybe in her last year of high school. So we were like, okay, so we got give that another 6 years. She got to graduate, find out what else she want to do. So I'm already like, yeah, this was happening. And then it wasn't exactly what's happening,
Mm.
right? And then the career that I really put too much into was like, I'm so glad we had this time together.
Oh.
And I was like, say what now? Wait, what do you mean? Wait, no. Even though, here's the rub, I knew that I should have moved on, that it was time, that I had grown as much as I could grow there, that I had given as much as I could give, and it was time for me to go higher. But when you don't have a real plan or a strategy on what that move is going to look like, and the mentors around you aren't really mentors because they try to still figure it out too.
Oh.
So it was like, okay, where's the strategy? What's the plan? So there were opportunities there for me because I have the experience and the skill set, but I didn't know how to take advantage of it. So when the bottom fell out, it felt like the bottom fell out of everything. And it was like a really bad dream, except that I woke up every day.
Mm.
Um,
Woo.
so what?
Wait. You gotta say that again.
Okay, I will. So it was like a really bad dream, like the bottom fell out, except the fact that I woke up every day and I was living in it. And I didn't know how. I didn't know how to be. I didn't, I had to still I tried to put on a good game face because I thought I could save one thing. I said, well, everything is going crazy. My body's just really doing its own thing. But at least I could work on maybe, saving my career. So I thought, right, saving this job. And I had my priorities wrong. So that was another thing. And being devastated, I realized that my priorities were out of order. I was so focused on trying to maybe save a piece of who I thought I was by having this career, this position, and all of that, that I didn't do more internal work. And my focus should have been God first and everything after that. And so the devastation it was like the coldest bucket of water next to freezing that hits your whole entire body. And you're not expecting that. And you don't know how to react.
Wait. When God, and they say this, when something has your attention more than God,
Absolutely.
He will take the whole floor from under you.
He
Ooh,
will shift it. He
he
will.
will. He will pull the rug from under you. You will slip and slide and break your hide, and you will be looking for Jesus. And I see you, Angela. Angela says she know that feeling of everything just being chaotic. And I'm just gonna talk a little bit about my experience with just my experience just with loss has. And I know people hate this saying, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." I just really want people to understand that is a true statement. And sometimes, like Theo said, God, I don't want to be, I don't want it to make me stronger. No, I don't want to do this no more. I know what doesn't kill me make me stronger, but am I not strong enough? But I'm just saying that because the one thing that helped me along the journey of losing my brother, right, which I just I can't even, I mean, I can't even right now I'm in a moment of, so we go through great stages of grief. So when I think about my brother not being here, I go back through the stage of shock or denial, right? Because it's still not really real in my heart, right? But what helped me the most is that I had been through so many tragedies: the loss of my stepfather, the loss of my mother, the loss of the child that I thought I had, right? Because the child that I pictured in my mind, as Sheila was saying, wasn't a 1 pound baby. It was an 8 pound baby boy bouncing out of me and me doing the child that I pictured in my mind was a child that was a normal child, quote unquote, because my child is normal, but y'all know what I mean. He's on the spectrum. So I had to grieve the loss of the Jermaine that I thought that I was getting. I had to grieve the loss of that child that does not play baseball, that does not know how to manipulate a basketball, that I have to assist in brushing his teeth and still wipe him, right? I had to accept. So I say all that to say this: what helped me when I lost my brother was I was able to accept that it was out of my control. So when I got the phone call, I was able to sit on the side of my bed and say, "You need to calm down because there's nothing you can do." Right? And this is in the middle of shock, dismay, the worst pain you ever feel in your life, to have the wherewithal to say to myself, you're going to lose it right now and have a heart attack, because that's what I felt like. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And one thing that was devastating too in that moment, and Theo, you can testify, is that I don't have a mate. So I did not know who to call. Like, I didn't have my boo or my bae, and the person I did call didn't respond the way that I wanted him to. So that was tragic for me too, to be like, oh my God, this person is not going to run at to my. So I had to just sit there and tell myself, you don't have control over this situation. So acceptance is something that I lean on, right? And I tell people, I hope everybody knows the Serenity Prayer, because it is so relevant in times of great loss, in times of tragedy. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because in those moments of devastation, you need to know what you have control over, and you need to know that God is in control of all things. So for me, losing my in that moment was, and still is to this day, and I just want people to understand, there is no time limit on grief. What we have to watch for, and what I have to watch for, and what we have to watch for in our loved ones, is not the length of grief that we have, it's the length of when we get stuck in the phases of grief. So we have to watch, I have to watch myself to make sure that I'm not in depression too long, because depression leads to different things. So that thing of acceptance for me has built my resilience up to understand that sometimes we are going to have to accept that we don't control everything. So I just was like, and the process of watching my mom die just gave me a level of resilience that helps me through every process, because what I say, right? Because we all are believers here on this panel. We all are believers. And what I say to the enemy is, I watched my mama die, son. They told me my son had autism, bro. I lost my marriage, homie. That's all you got? Come on. That's all you got? I can't pay a bill. That's all you got? So I just want people to understand that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Unfortunately, we're going to have to go through some things. So let's talk about different types of loss, because sometimes, again, like Gina said, it's not always a loss of a life. Like, menopause is real. Like, yo, menopause is the loss of your youth. Oh, Gina, you done started something here tonight. Menopause is the loss of your youth. And I'm glad we're here, because if you just tuned in, you tuned into the Woman to Woman show, brought to you by New You Nation Network. We are here tonight talking about overcoming obstacles, and obstacles come in different ways, right? So this network is for Gen X, people of a certain age. I mean, it's for anybody to watch, but we really get to cater toward us. And menopause is a real thing. It's the loss of your youth. And that just came to me, Gina, and it's real talk, to wake up in the
Yes.
middle of the night in a puddle of sweat and your whole bed wet, especially for us single ladies, because what we gonna do? What we gonna do when we get a man? Like, how we supposed to explain that? At least you've been with your man forever, and Sheila, at least y'all, we like, what am I do? Right, Theo?
Look here.
Well, I'm going to say something that a lot of women are not going to be too happy about. I, not going to really have been blessed, because the one thing I have not experienced with menopause is the hot flashes and the sweats.
Oh,
So that, I don't know how I got past that.
That's a blessing.
I think my body does overheat maybe every now and then, but I don't get the hot flashes like a lot of other women do. I do understand though, like Gina said, like, whereas before I could decide I'm gonna work out, change my diet, and lose weight, and it be gone. That doesn't happen anymore. You do have to work at it a little harder and do some things differently, because your hormones and your body is changing. But yeah, that menopause is a trip, because it is a sign of, you're like, okay, I'm going into a new season,
Right.
of life, right? And so I think it's great that you did say, right, because death is death, right? And it's something that we totally can't control, and there's different ways that we deal with that. But when it comes to dealing with some of the other loss, like employment, right? Friendships, other relationships, the changes in your body, how you choose to handle that stuff is really going to be a testimony to how you get through that process and that journey into your next season and your next chapter, right? And so that's where, for me, it became like healing is a choice, right? So how am I going to get through all of this? Because one of my favorite scriptures is Romans 8:28, right? All things happen for the good of those who love the Lord, right? And there were periods in my life where I forgot that. Right. But now it's the one thing that I remember when things happen. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to trip right now. I'm just going to wait and see how this plays out, because eventually I know that this is going to work out for my good.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Right.
And for everybody listening right now, your loss is your loss. It is significant. If it is a loss to you, because sometimes we think to ourselves, I don't want to complain. It's not really complaining. I don't want to show concern about that to anybody. But to lose your livelihood, to lose your job, and you don't know how you're going to pay your rent, or you don't know how they're going to come take that car out the drive. They're going to kind of hide your car and drive that old girl house you parking 3 blocks up the street. Listen, a loss is a loss. You must not lose these things alone. Like Theo said, the loss of a job means the loss of your stability. That will mess with your mental, right? The loss of your youth will mess with your mind. The loss of your body starting to do things that you never even imagined. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you feel a little on your chin and you out. You like, what the? Oh my goodness. What? I hope nobody can see me smoke this stuff. Like,
But I think the thing about it is for all of us, right? Because like we already identified with all believers, is that we're believers, but we're not churchy, right? Like we got a
yes.
little stuff going on. God ain't done with all of us yet, right? But the reality is that one of the things I also remember saying to one of my girlfriends is, right, sometimes we give the devil too much credit,
Oh,
right? Because sometimes
Right.
what's happening in life is God like, listen, I need to give you a little, especially for me. Sometimes I'm like, he's like, listen, girl, I don't know how else to show you this. I'm about to do something that's gonna knock you down. It's gonna hurt, but if I don't do this, you're not gonna move in the way that I want you to move, and you're not gonna
Yeah.
learn the lesson that I need you to learn, right? And so
Yeah.
one thing I've also learned is to stop giving the enemy so much credit,
Exactly.
right? And to sometimes sit back and say, okay, what is God trying to show me in this? And of course, I'm human. So I'm going to go through I'm going to shed some tears, maybe. I might get angry, right? I'm going to go through all of those stages, right? That we go through with any type of loss that we experience. But at the end of the day, at some point, I'm going to sit back and I am going to try to figure out, okay, what is God trying to show me in this?
mm, mm. Were you gonna say something, Sheila?
I was good. Just taking it back a little bit further, though, is that like the those obstacles that we face. One of the things that makes it so tough is that we attach our identities to it.
Yes.
That
Yes.
job, we become that job. That that marriage, we become that marriage, and
Mm-hmm.
we've never taken the time to actually realize that you're an individual. You have to be whole for yourself first. And again, it all ties into, you know, God trying to wake you up. Because I'm just like you,
Yeah.
Theo. I'm like, I'm not giving the devil credit. My relationship is not with the devil. My relationship is with God. And I know
Amen.
sometimes, because again, God gives us all free will, right? So when I'm going right and God had been tugging me to go left and I keep going right, that's not the devil. That's me getting in my way.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part, again, getting back to it, is learning that, wait a minute, I am not my job. When you talked about being too comfortable and you needed that push off the cliff,
Mm-hmm.
because you sat in that job too long, knowing that your talents were being either underutilized or you were not happy, just for the sake of bringing home a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
I see you nodding over there, Gina.
Yeah. So I got 2 points I'd like to emphasize. Whatever your gifts are, whatever your talents are, they can be used anywhere, because wherever you are, so are they.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that, you know, you may feel that you've went a certain level in a career, and to be transparent, it wasn't so much that I climbed up so high in that company as much as I really enjoyed the serving that I was doing there. And, to be part of something where you know that you're making a tangible difference means a lot. But there has to be a balance, right? So what outside of that, in a decent, it was decent salary, what else was there going on? So all those things, I felt like God was checking me. Jehovah was pulling me to say, look, I need you to revisit your thoughts around this thing. And I have to tell you, I have no negativity towards where I used to work. Matter of fact, one of the best things that could have happened is that I'm not there anymore, because I was trying to make something work when the time had passed. And it was my opportunity to grow and move in a different direction. But fear will keep you where you don't belong.
Mm.
Mm.
And so, because of who I serve, he loved me enough to say, listen, daughter, it may not be comfortable right now, but I'm going to transition you out of this, and you're going to feel some type of way. But it's okay, because I got you. And when you come out on the other side, you're going to be better than where you thought you were. And you're going to be okay. Um, as it relates to the menopause, this is what I want to say. And I know this is for us, and I know this is for the ladies of our age. But if any one of y'all ladies out there that are listening or not in our age and you haven't got there yet, do yourself a honest to goodness favor. Embrace wherever you are. Love yourself. Treasure who you are. Love
Mm.
your body. Take care of yourself. Don't let anybody tell you you are not as beautiful as you are on the inside and out. Embrace each stage of your growth. Own yourself. Walk with that. You understand me? Because now that I'm on this side, it's not so much that I've lost my youth. Baby, if I would have appreciated how much I was rocking it back then, I'm appreciating that now as
Yeah.
a seasoned woman, knowing that I got it together from the inside out and I could work on some stuff differently. Y'all better hold your stuff. You understand me? Okay? So all I'm saying is appreciate. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
y'all. Am I being
No,
real? I'm just being real.
no,
All I'm saying is each stage of your growth, embrace it, own it, love it. Okay? I'm not hating on you 30-year-olds or you 20-year-olds because I was there. If anything, is I didn't realize how awesome I was at each of those stages.
Yeah.
So now
Yes.
as I am in this stage, I'm embracing me, who I am in this stage.
Hmm.
So y'all out there who aren't here yet, own your spot wherever you are. And don't
Mm.
let anybody tell you you are less than. Because as you get older, your body, your mind, everything, you're going to go through transitions. And that's okay. But appreciate each level, y'all. Appreciate it. Own it. And take care of your vessel because you only have one.
Mm.
You only have one.
Mm.
So
I love it.
if those shoes are 5 inches too high, you need to wear the three, boo boo. Because when you get in your 50s, you may not be able to rock it like that.
Exactly.
All right. So take care of yourself. Your body will tell you when you're doing too much.
Yes.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh
That's
my
all I
God, I
got.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna put a pin in it right there for right now.
Well, thank you for that pin. But I wanted to say something that Gina said that just puts a bow on this. A
Yeah.
loss is not always a loss.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we turn our perspective around, right? A
Yes.
loss is not always a loss. An end is always an opportunity for a new beginning, right? Even when we lose
Yes.
people, right?
Yeah.
We have to take on their memory, right? When we lose
Yes.
somebody that is dear to us suddenly, we have to live out loud in honor of them, right? And
Hmm.
we can't, and this is one thing I want to tell people on here. We cannot tell another person how to grieve,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Everybody's grieving process is different.
Different. Yep.
And so many times we judge when we don't know because it hasn't happened to us, right? I've never lost a child. I've lost a mom, right? I've never lost a spouse. So sometimes we get in our own head of the way we think a person is supposed to grieve because we have some level of loss. Losing a brother is very different than losing a husband. So my brother was somebody's husband. So his
Hmm.
wife was going through a different process of grief than me because she saw him
Yep.
for years, right? His children are going through a different process because they lost a father, right? A
Right.
person who loses their job and you say to that person, "Oh, just get over it." You can't tell a person to get over a
Hmm.
job that they were at for 35 years and they have blood, sweat, and tears, and you've only been at a job for 3 years and you've been bouncing around. You don't know what it feels like to have that connection to that job. You don't know what it feels like to build family at a job. There are people who
Right.
build families at jobs.
Yeah.
So when we are dealing with loss, there are just some things that we should not say to people who are grieving, whatever that loss is. A breakup is the death of a relationship. And when I'm talking about a breakup, when you break up with a man, when you get a divorce, when you have a friendship that breaks down, or
Yeah.
it is the death of a relationship.
Hmm.
The worst thing you can say to somebody is get over it. You don't
Hmm.
tell people to get over. You don't tell people how to grieve. So when we're dealing with different aspects of loss, sometimes we can be harsh and cruel and it's not nice. A loss is a loss when somebody has emotionally connected to something. And what we have to do is we have to support people through what it is they're going through at the level that we know how to support. So if you don't know what to say, don't say nothing, right? Sometimes we just got to show up and we got
Mhm.
to show up with Theo and say, hey, girl, I'm here,
Mhm. I
right?
mean, I think that's the biggest lesson I learned. I mean, is and it happened when my girlfriend lost her son, her only son,
Mm.
right? And I showed up every day, like this, my girl, like my little sister, and I would just go and I would just sit. If she wanted to talk, we talked. If she wanted to cry, we cried. Whatever it is that she wanted to do, but I was not quoting no scriptures. I wasn't saying it's gonna be all right. None of that. Because like you said, I don't know what it feels like to lose a child. Right. And so sometimes you have to realize that you really don't understand what the person is going through. I will honestly tell you, 5 years later, right? I still have to manage the trigger, right, of losing my dad. And so anytime I hear of someone who experiences a suddenness of death where they lose someone suddenly, that's a trigger. It takes me back to right what happened with my father. So I'm very mindful of, how I just even deal with other people losses. And for most of the time, it's just I'm just gonna listen. What do you need me for? I'm just here. I don't even have anything to say because I don't even say I understand what you're going through because we all go through a loss differently. So we may not really understand what someone else is going through. So I think, that point that you made is so critical for people to understand that don't judge people and don't tell people that they should be over something because everybody deals with loss differently and everybody heals differently.
Mm, that's some good stuff right there. Wait a minute. She said, I'm not up in there reading scriptures. I'm just sitting there quietly. Sometimes we just have to know that your presence is enough, right? And we have to learn. And if you, like I said, if you don't know what to say, don't say anything at all because
Mhm.
there's a difference between empathy and sympathy,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You don't know the difference. You can trigger somebody. And
Yeah.
as people said, for me, for my brother, when I do different things because, like I said,
Mhm.
thank God I've accepted that he's not here, right? And I've accepted that only because I can't bring him back. And me crying every day, or me drinking, or me doing whatever, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't necessarily mean that somebody
Mhm.
else who is close to him is not going to go through that process differently. But I know things that trigger me with my brother, right?
Mm.
So I stay clear of those things. Like we love Jaheim. Like we love Jaheim. And one of the last things that we did was we sung karaoke in his house in Utah. And one of the songs we was singing was Just in Case, and the other one was John B. They Don't Know. Those songs I can't, and I've tried because those are my songs. But I can feel the trigger coming on in the car, or and they come on randomly sometimes because they in heavy rotation
Mhm.
in my playlist, and I'm processing, and I'm like, one day I'm going to be able to listen to this song, but just not today.
Mhm.
So we have to be really careful with triggers, like Theo said, and Theo has a high level of empathy, right? She could feel other people's pain. So when she hears that somebody tragically lost a loved one, it triggers her because she knows exactly what that feels like to get that unexpected death. And I think we all do. And I think one other thing that Theo said that was really, 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 really powerful and relevant: get you a therapist. Get you got if you are going through it, you get to go through it. But understand that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to get help. So we are at 8:50. So we're going to share our final thoughts on grief and loss. I just want to go around the room, and I just really want to thank you, ladies, for sharing your stories. And I just want to thank you for being here because what the enemy thought was going to take you out. Because when you got three, four, five, seven things going on at the same time, it's a lot. It's really a lot mentally. that could really make you have a nervous breakdown.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
have felt like I was gonna have a nervous breakdown. Like, am I having a nervous breakdown? Like,
Mhm.
what the wait?
Right.
What? Gina say? What the fudge sickles?
What the fudge
With
pickles?
the fudge pickles.
What the fudge pickles?
The fudge
It's
pickles.
like, when you don't know emotionally what you're feeling or what that
Mhm.
feeling is, I'm like, am I having a heart attack or am I having a nervous breakdown? So I just want us to go around the room and maybe give somebody a word of advice on how to process or whatever you would like to leave with the people tonight. And
Mhm.
Gina, you can go first.
Me?
Yes, Gina.
Oh, okay. So this is what I'll say. Did y'all see what I just did?
No.
You took a breath.
I
You
Oh,
took
took
a
a
breath.
breath. No, but do you see this big smile? What I'm saying to you is when I was going through everything, I couldn't find a smile. And if anybody knows me, I love to smile and I'm a hugger. It's just part of my DNA. And I lost that in what I was dealing with. But what I found on the other side of that, because I didn't give up and each day I woke up. So for a while I went through different stages of grieving those things because remember it all happened literally at the same time, y'all. One of those things is enough, but all three. But here are a couple of things I found. I reconnected to the fact that I enjoyed baking. And I started a business about 15 years ago. And I put it on the side because the outside career, which was the job, took over. And I didn't put enough energy into building that business. The other thing I found out is that I enjoy teaching. I'm a helper by nature. So even though I was not feeling my best when I was going through, as I was transitioning out of, and I'm saying it like this because you're going to go through whatever your process is. You, if you just hold on, you're going to go through and out of it. One of the things I did is I found a way to serve. It may sound hokey. It may sound like, girl, I'm not in the mood to be serving nobody. I'm dealing with stuff. I'm just telling you from a person that was dealing with three different stuffs at the same time. By me serving and helping out and using my skills far as a pastry, um, a baker, and understanding that space, I was able to not focus on the devastation that I was feeling at the height of the devastation. And I was able to channel that energy into doing something productive. And that reignited my baking business. And I started a business, a company, RHN Unlimited, right? Where I build futures, breaking limits and building futures is my tagline. And that would not have happened if I stayed where I was, if I didn't start paying attention to my physical self, and I didn't take a real look at what was my need to do or what do I need to do in my marriage or how do I show up. And that meant I had to reconnect with God first because I was putting too many other things in front. But if I kept on going like everything was good, I would not have reconnected with the gift that He gave me over 16 years ago, which is the ability to bake, serve, and grow and help other people along that way. So, yeah, find a way to serve if you can. It will be a positive distraction while you are making a positive deposit into other people. And you just may find the thing that you didn't think you had, you really did have it.
Mhm.
Sometimes God got to peel the onion, peel the layers, so you can get to the heart of what He has for you. Because what's for you is for you.
mm,
Sometimes the challenges help you see that.
yes. Come on, Sheila.
Just know that you are not on an island by yourself. That there are people that'll be there to support you, whether it's that person that's going to be there to give you that pep talk, or the person that's going to be there to just allow you to cry or be that Theo and just sit there. You're not alone. Go through the process, because at the end of the process is that light, but it's your light. It's no one else's. It's not going to look the same for everyone. It's going to look the way it's supposed to look for you. But let go through the process.
I love it. I
Mm.
love it. I love it. Come on, Theo.
Wow. So there is so much that I could probably say, but one of the things I'm going to say is a little bit piggybacking off of something Sheila said in one of her comments, which is just figure out who you are. The journey for me was really coming to the point of, you know what, girl, you've said you're authentic all of your life, but have you really been authentic? And so I had to take off a mask that I was wearing, which was feeling like I had to have everything together. Like I needed to be able to say to people, I don't have everything together. I don't. I know I'm the go-to girl. I know y'all all think I'm rocking it. Y'all all think I'm doing this and doing that. But behind this smile and behind this girl that's going after everything she wants is someone that's also has some insecurities, someone that has some fears, and someone that really has to push through to get to where everything that she has. And so for me, the one thing I would say is just ask yourself, who am I? Outside of the title that you have at work, outside of being the sister, the daughter, the friend, the whatever title that you contribute to yourself, remove that and ask yourself, who am I? If I strip away all of those things, who am I? And when you begin to ask yourself who you are and just really truly be your authentic self, you will do some things that you never could imagine doing. I would have never imagined being a published author. I would have never imagined writing. It's just a chapter, but writing in a book, sharing with people intimate things about myself. I would have never imagined that, right? Because of the need to always make people believe that I had everything together. So I would just say, be yourself, because when you are yourself, so many doors will open, and then people will begin to look at you and say, like one of my cousins constantly is like, oh, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're this. Like, you will actually begin to see and hear how other people see you, so that you really see yourself in that way as well.
That's some good stuff. Again, I just want people to hear that part, Theo. It's okay to not be okay. I am not okay. I am not all right. I'm over here suffering. I'm dying on the inside. And we as Black women, and I'm going to say this, even though this light got me looking real like just been knocked at me. I don't know what's going on here, but we as Black women, I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Y'all look. Anywho, we here on real time. I'm sorry. Let me get back to my point. We as Black women feel like we got to be Wonder Woman, Superwoman, Batgirl. No, we are human beings, flesh and blood, and things hurt us. We hurt. We need help. Sometimes we are not okay, and that's okay. And the one thing that I want to say is I have a sign in my kitchen on the wall, and it says, "This too shall pass." I want everybody to put that in your arsenal when you are going through the worst tragedy of your life. I just want you to hear my voice in your head that this too shall pass. Not what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Not these cliches, get over it and all. I just want you to have this little, and this is what God whispers in my ear whenever something is going on. Trey, this too shall pass. And I want to give you all some resources. So if you're going through any type of grieving, any loss, I want you to look up Dr. Cheryl Hardy. Dr. Cheryl Hardy, she is a grief counselor. Dr. Cherie Good, she lost her son last year tragically in a motorcycle accident. And she has been going all over the world sharing her story to help other people connect with people who have been through tragedies such as that. Again, we need to connect with people who have been through what we've been through and who have got through, who have grew through, and who are glowing through what we've been through, right? If you know everything that we've been through, somebody has gone through, got through, grew through, and is glowing through. We need to find those people. If you have lost a child, find a grief group that deals with the loss of a child. If you have lost a husband, if you have lost a job, if you have lost your identity, if you are losing your mind, one of the most important things for me when it comes to Jermaine is my support group, my autism support group, Mason's Place. I can call, I can't, and this is no disrespect or offense to Theo, Sheila, or Regina, but I can't call them because they don't know what it feels like to have a child that's spearing poop.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what it feels like to go find your toilet backed up because your child then threw the whole roll of toilet paper or a bar of soap. They don't know what it feels like to have a child that is just on the floor wilding out and you don't know why. So connect with people who can connect with your pain. I can't help a drug addict because I don't know what it feels like to go through withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
A person that is a drug addict and another drug addict who has gone through it, been through it, and is winning through it can say, I've been there.
Right.
I know you got this. I'm right here with you. So again, I just want you to remember this too shall pass. And also look up Brene Brown. She has so many books on empathy, on sympathy. One of the books that I love is Men, Women, and Worthiness. Please look that up. And I'm just going to give you a couple of things. The best things to say to someone in grief. I am so sorry for your loss. I wish I had the right words. Just know I care. I don't know how you feel, but I'm here to help you in any way. You and your loved ones will be in my thoughts and prayers. The worst things to say. Okay, I just want to leave this with y'all. At least she lived a long time.
Mm.
Say that.
Mm-mm.
In a better place. Don't nobody want to hear that when their brother been killed on a motorcycle. Don't or their
Mm-mm.
son or their husband or their daughter or their wife or they done lost their husband to a side chick. Don't nobody want to hear some of this stuff. She brought this on herself. Don't nobody listen.
Mm.
There's a reason for everything. When somebody is grieving, don't nobody want to hear that. So
Right.
again, I just wanted to give you those little nuggets, and I thank you. And here's some things that grief can cause. If you think you are still stuck in a phase of grief, grief can cause back pain, joint pain, headache, and stiffness. The pain is caused by the overwhelming amount of stress hormones being released during the grieving process. If you feel like you've been stuck in sadness for a long time, I really want you to look for a grief counselor because you may be depressed. So again, get the help that you need. And I want to thank my beauty flies. That's what we call ourselves, the beauty flies here on the Woman to Woman show. Thank you for tuning in. We don't take it lightly. It's a privilege to be in your life.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram at W2W Show. Please subscribe to the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. And don't forget to share. Sharing is caring. And again, we believe that truth plus transparency equals
It's healing.
you are only as sick as your secrets, and it's healing time. We'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network channel. So thank you. Be blessed. Thank you, Beauty Flies. I'll see
Thank you.
you next
Thank
Tuesday.
you.
And again, please share. You tuned into the Woman to Woman show. We're here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace and blessings, and we'll see you next week.